I'm going to say something that may seem shocking to anybody who loves fitness, who works in fitness, or maybe who's just into inspirational content. I am not inspired by David Goggins. Now, you might be wondering why I say this. Well, if you are, watch up. So if you don't know who David Goggins is probably one of the most well-known names in inspirational content. Like David Goggins, he was like SAS. He was, or maybe not SAS, but he was like one of the real top army dudes. He's done, I think he's got the pull-up world challenge. He's done crazy ultra marathons. The guy is a freak of nature, and his ability to push himself to levels that not many human beings have got to is bloody impressive. Now, when I say I'm not inspired by David Goggins, don't get me wrong. What he has achieved is phenomenal. And I understand that his work inspires other people. And I'm going to be honest, when I was younger, I was kind of a bit of a Goggins pathway. Like when I was younger, I exercised 35 hours a week for basically 7 years of my life. I've done, these training camps where I'd swim 4K a day, bike 200K a day, and run 10 to 20K a day for 14 days in a row. I've done extreme fitness stuff myself. And at that time, I imagine maybe I inspired some people at that time as well. But the problem I have with David Goggins is it's all about him. It's like if you ever read his stuff, it's all about what I have done. And again, I'm not saying what he's done isn't impressive, and I'm not saying that doesn't inspire people. I know people read Goggins and it's inspirational to them. But as I've got older, and maybe when I was in my 20s, I would have been inspired by that as well. I kind of was, because that's what I was trying to be. But as I've got older, I'm less inspired by the person who's just, here's what I can do. And I remember a few years ago when my book came out, actually last year when my book came out, I did an interview, and before the interview they sent me through some questions, and they sent through 5 questions to answer, quick questions for the end of the interview. And they said, name 2 inspirational people that you'd want to have dinner with. And I was really challenged by this because I'm, there's the obvious answers that most people are going to say, but I wasn't really, I really thought deeply and hard about it. And then when I thought about it, there were 2 people that ultimately I would love to go to dinner with. And one is a guy by the name of Scott Robinson. Now, Scott Robinson, for people outside of New Zealand, is about to become the latest All Black coach. Scott Robinson has been the Canterbury Crusaders coach and the Canterbury rugby team coach for the last 15 years. His Canterbury Crusaders have won the last 7 championships in a row. Before that, he was the Canterbury rugby team, which is the kind of the grade lower than that. For about 5 or 6 years, they won every year. Before that, he was the under-20 World New Zealand rugby coach. They won. Scott Robinson creates winners. Scott Robinson, when you listen to him talk, it's all about how do I get the best out in other people. And as I've become an older person, I'm inspired by that. And Scott Robinson, and I've met Scott a couple of times, but I've never really had a deep conversation with him. But I'd love to get inside his head because he inspires people to get to levels that they can't get to by themselves. He has the Midas touch to make his world a greater thing. And the other person I spoke of at that time was a lady by the name of Noeline Taurua. Now, Noeline Taurua is the netball coach of New Zealand. And before she took over the New Zealand netball team, they'd gone to a World Cup and basically lost to teams which were like 5 steps below the level. It was the most embarrassing time in the history of New Zealand netball. And she basically took over the team with about 6 months to go before the next World Cup. No one gave her a chance of doing well. A good result would have been to get in the top 3, and they won the World Cup. And Noeline's a bit like Razor Robinson. Everything she touches pretty much goes to gold. And when I think about inspiration in this stage in my life, now again, David Goggins is an inspiration, don't get me wrong, but all I seem to ever hear about David Goggins is him. When I look at Razor Robinson and Noeline Taurua and the great coaches and the great people, and as I age, I'm inspired by people who can bring greatness out of others. And not just out of 1 or 2 others, but out of many others. And when you think about this, we look at the Razor Robinsons of the world, but think about the people in your life You know, there's that one manager you've had. There's that one coach you had. There's those people in your life who make you see possibility, who give you pathways that develop you. Like, if I want to learn, I want to learn from those people in my life. Because sure, I can learn to push myself harder and learn a lot about myself. But if I want to have a great impact on the world, I want to learn how to have a bigger impact on more people. So while David Goggins is an absolute legend, and I agree, he does inspire a lot of people, if you want to inspire me, show me how you can create growth, development, and take others to massive levels in their lives. I'd be pretty inspired to talk to you if you're that person. If you enjoy my pieces and you want to bring exercise into your life, you need to check out my book, I Will Make You Passionate About Exercise. This book is designed to be a step-by-step journey that teaches you the right lessons and experiences to guide bringing exercise into your life, not just for a moment, but where you get to the place where you have a long-term love of exercise. So you get fitter, you get healthier, you have great stress releases, and you feel amazing about yourself. This book has been hugely successful, getting into the top 10 in the world for health and fitness books. So if it's time for you to bring health and fitness into your life, go to Passion About Exercise, click on the link, go through the process, and you can be starting your journey of finding your love for exercise really soon.